This panel is a really important one, everybody. Law school, as you all know it, is a very enlightening, but also stressful 3 years. There's no way around that. It's heavy a lot of the time, and it's really important to feel as though you're supported in lots of different directions. And here at Villanova Law, we try our best to be intentional about providing support through different avenues. And today you're going to be hearing from different individuals who provide that support to you all, or will be providing that support to you all. We have different offices here through our student services suite. We have student affairs. We also have the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We have financial aid. We also have academic success. And they're each going to speak about their offices, how their offices assist our students, and what you could look forward to if you're here in the fall as a Villanova Law student in terms of involvements, but in terms of support as well in and out of the classroom. We're also joined by a third-year student who's a rock star. And Haley's going to be chatting with you all, answering some questions. So feel free to use the Q&A box throughout the session that we're going to be doing today. If you have any questions whatsoever as it pertains to these groups, what they handle, what they work on here at the law school, please do throw your questions in the Q&A box so that we can address those questions as we progress throughout today's panel. I'm going to put Emmy on the spot first to just do a little bit of an introduction, introduce yourself, but then of course to share why you're here today, what group you're representing, and then to speak a little bit about student affairs. I know that you're here representing student affairs and also our director of student affairs, but go ahead and share a little bit about your background and experiences and what you do here at the law school, Emmy.
Sure. Thanks, Bill. Hi, everyone. My name is Emmy. I am the Student Services Coordinator. I am here today speaking on behalf of the Director of Student Affairs, Nancy Whalen. My job is also to support all of the student services that are in the suite, which are most of the folks that you see on this call today. But specifically, the Student Affairs Office is committed to building a support system to help students succeed by way of encouraging a vibrant student life and providing wellness resources specific to the law student. So that's done in a couple of different ways, in many different ways, but the two that I'll focus specifically on are going to be student groups and wellness and well-being. So Nancy advises the Student Bar Association. This group is comprised of elected Villanova Law students that are dedicated to supporting and advocating for the student body. The SBA plans events which bring the community together and oversees the 40 plus diverse student groups. There is something for everybody. All of these groups are open to all Villanova Law School students, and they provide many different types of programming, such as social events, educational, cultural events, panels, all kinds of fun things. So for the wellness and well-being piece, we're actually fortunate enough to have, I know Haley is not here as the wellness coordinator representative today. She is here as a student, but she's fantastic. So if you have any questions specific to wellness, I know she said she's definitely available to answer anything. But just briefly, Villanova University does have a counseling center, an office of health promotion, and the health center. All of these resources are available to Villanova students free of charge. Nancy does also help to bridge the gap between these offices and the law school, since they are not on our campus, not in our building here at the law school. In addition, Haley, or whoever the SBA Wellness Coordinator is, works in conjunction with the Student Mental Health Society. This is a new student group that provides resources and different kinds of programming to support law students and work to destigmatize mental health issues in the law school environment. Just a couple other resources. In the past year, Villanova has partnered with You Will. This is a mental health provider which offers free 24/7, 365 access to therapists for all students. Villanova also hosts virtual student hours with Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers. This is an assistant program that is confidential, that's specific for lawyers. And just to summarize, the goal for student affairs is to provide students with a positive experience. So if any difficulties arise, know that there are many, many people that are here at the law school that are available to help.
Haley, I'm going to come to you really quickly to just chat a little bit about the mental health aspect. I know that you've been invested and involved with the Student Mental Health Alliance and Society on campus, and just sort of, that being a big part of law school, that for a long time was maybe hidden and not really given a lot of the spotlight that it deserved and needed. So you want to just chat a little bit with our attendees about what that group stands for, and the ways in which it's been helpful to the students here at the law school that maybe aren't even members of the group or board members, but what sorts of things the group does to help students with their mental health and well-being.
Yeah, I'm immensely grateful for SMHS, for everybody here on the panel. I'm speaking here as a student. I am the SBA's wellness coordinator. Full disclosure, 1L was horrible for me. I struggled in my personal life, and therefore that led to academic issues. And I think I had to get over really quickly, I had to get over the barrier of asking for help. That's really hard to do. We're all independent and driven and hardworking. That's why we're here. And it's really hard to reach out and ask for help. But I'm really lucky because SMHS, which is the Student Mental Health Society, one of their main goals is changing the conversation. And if it's no longer having mental health issues is seen as a weakness. It's not logical. It's not realistic. So a lot of the events and programming that the president of SMHS and I work to create is, enlightening different aspects of that. So we talk about imposter feelings. We've had events in conjunction with the UCC, which is the University's Counseling Center, and they have specialists in different areas. We talked about exercise and sleep and nutrition. And so I'm really grateful for Villanova for all of this. I attend all of those events almost religiously. So
balance is important, and making time for things outside of academics is truly, truly paramount to finding success in law school as well. Somebody else here at the law school that's obviously a huge supporter of our students through the work that she does, but also just because I see them in her office at times, and she's a confidant of many students and they rely on her, as do I, right? Is Kristina, who's our Director of Financial Aid. So, Kristina, if you want to introduce yourself and then just share about your office, I know you know what to say, so I'll leave it in your hands.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Kristina Wilhelm-Nelson. I have been in the field of financial aid for 23 years and at the law school for almost 10 years. There are 3 people in our office. Jennifer Wong, some of you may have already worked with her. She deals strictly with our admitted students and our 1L students. And then she's our associate director. Then we have our assistant director, Chris Nicholson, who will work with you as a 2L and 3L student. And he also is in charge of our work study. We have off-campus work study, which a lot of our students utilize. They find it really helpful because instead of an externship where you get credit hours, this actually gives you a paycheck during the summer. So you can work up to earning about $4,000 or $5,000 over the summer doing something in the field of financial aid, not financial aid law. You don't want to do financial aid, trust me. I got stuck in this by mistake and never left. Anyway, we are here to assist you from start to finish. And our office doors are always open, and we have really developed great relationships with so many of our students, where sometimes office like financial aid can be a little bit scary. We try to make sure that we are the least scary office on campus. And in addition to providing any financial aid assistance you may need or inquiring about, we also provide annual financial literacy workshops, and that's for all students, even if you aren't utilizing financial aid. And those workshops will help you understand how to budget, we do one for after you graduate that will help you if you're trying to buy a house, or if you're getting married, or if you have a child in the way, how to best save. We do workshops if you are taking out loans to help you through all of the various loan repayment options that are out there. And in addition, our students take advantage of this after you graduate and your loan repayments start, which is typically 6 months after the last day of classes. You are more than welcome, and we really encourage this for you to contact us us, and we will help you try to figure out which loan repayments best suit whatever type of job you're in or whatever your financial state is, just to help you make sure that you are in the best possible loan repayment plan that fits your total earnings and so forth. So we just want to make sure that our office doors are open, and you are welcome to contact us or stop by and say hi so we get to know you. Thanks.
And then next, what I'll do is I'll turn it over to our Director of DEI, Mr. Kent Lollis, to chat about his department and what they're doing here. A newer team on campus, but obviously a really powerful team. Yeah, Kent, take it away.
Great, thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's great to talk with you. The Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion was just created in Villanova Law School in August. So we're very happy that we're launching a lot of programs for the benefit of students to create an environment that is supportive of you and encourages your success. You will find out that the other staff people on this committee are some of the most dedicated people you ever worked with. And so that helps all of that helps create a very diverse environment. We do advise affinity groups to the law school. We also assist faculty in adding diversity subject matter to their curriculum. And we have a number of programs based on diversity issues that we offer for your convenience throughout the year. And these are all topics that are either referred by you or recommended by you. We also we just added two 1L research assistants who have been really helpful in identifying what students want and what students need. But the biggest thing is that my office is available if you want to come talk to me about any diversity, equity, inclusion issues. And I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
And Ken, I was just going to say as a quick note, both of your research assistants are actually participating on panels today.
Oh, great.
Just had Kayla on one, and we're going to have Ashley on the next one.
Okay.
Super helpful to have their support. Last but not least is Matt Carluzzo, who is our Dean of Students and also in charge of the Academic Success Program here at the law school. Matt, I'll turn it over to you to share about your team.
Thanks, Phil. And hi, everybody. Yeah, my name is Matt Carluzzo. I'm the Assistant Dean of Students and Academic Success here. And I have a job where my department takes care of something which I really love. In a nutshell, my ASP, which is what we call a department, the Academic Success Program, our job is to help students adapt and learn how to basically to study law generally, adapt to the study of law as a field of study. Because as you all incoming 1Ls will soon find, it's very different, right? This is opposed to the details of any particular subject that you would take in the first year, like torts or contracts or property, et cetera. Those are specific courses. But we focus on how to study law generally, how to do law school, if you will. The reason that we do that, and because there's a lot to talk about, is because the study of law is really different than any other academic studies. I can say that pretty confidently, no matter what background you might be coming from, this is going to be different. I think one of the things that law students run into first is, you're right, everybody who gets into law school is a very strong student. You all have the ability to memorize and recite, and that's in large part what you've been asked to do so far academically. But in law school, you're going to start working with different materials, different sources, right? Cases, statutes, regulations. So a whole new set of materials you're going to be reading and learning from. You're also going to be asked to do things with what you read in a very different way, as opposed to just kind of memorizing and digesting them. You need to be able to use them. So, for example, you're going to learn law, but then you have to be able to apply the law that you're learning to a brand new set of facts, to be able to do that objectively when asked, to be able to do it persuasively when asked. And this is really what the study of law is. It's very different so my office focuses kind of on that broad skills-based, how do we approach this field of law? Basically, you're going to be asked to develop an entirely new set of academic skills, and that is what we get to focus on. the specialized skills that are necessary to succeed in every class, no matter what it is. So how do we do that? All kinds of ways, really. Ideally, and very often, it's one-on-one. That's one of the things that is great about, I think, our office. My office consists of me and Professor Schuyler Sattel. You can meet with either of us individually, and we love meeting with students one-on-one to just find out how they're doing, what they in particular are encountering, and how we might help them. But we also get to speak to the class, the entire class, throughout all 3 years, through various programs that we have. You might have heard of something called professional development in some of these conversations. If not, it's a wonderful program that we have and that ASP is a part of. We do workshops, we have for credit courses, things like that. But for today's purposes, I just want you to understand that we understand that law school, as Phil alluded to at the beginning, and all of us are alluding to in some way, can be overwhelming at first, particularly academically, but we want you to know that we are here to help you transition to these very different set of expectations. So if any of you have any questions about the academic side of law school, I would be happy to answer them. I also, if you have questions along this regard, one of the other things that my office focuses on more after the transition is helping students prepare for the bar exam. So if you have questions about bar licensure or bar preparation, I'd be happy to answer those as well. Thank you.
I want to come to you again really quickly, because I know that you have interacted with academic success during your time as a student. Can you share a little bit about your interactions with that team, but then also subsequent to that, you share about being involved, of course, with Student Mental Health Society, but also you are involved in other things on campus. It's not sort of the starting and the ending point for your involvement. So if you want to share a little bit about your involvements with Nancy and Emmy on the staff side, but also just so that the rest of the attendees get a feel for what else you are involved with on campus as a student.
Yes, I can start with that. I know hi, I'm Haley Norwillo. I'm a 3L. I realized I didn't do that. I have been incredibly involved on campus, and I'm really grateful for that. I have had interactions with everyone on this panel, so it was hard to say, am I here for school, am I here admin side or am I here student side? And Villanova is excellent with communication, because I've reached out to all of you, and thank you for your interactions with me. But academic success, I met with Schuyler. I did not meet with Dean Carluzzo. Dean Carluzzo's job right now is to help me with the bar exam, but Schuyler is fantastic. I remember I was about 6 weeks into torts, and I realized I had no idea what was going on in a very real way. So scheduled an appointment with her, and there was no judgment at all. I have to say, everyone at the school has been incredibly respectful of me, my experiences, my background. It's something you feel when you're on campus. I feel seen, I feel heard. And that was how I felt with Schuyler. And we worked. She taught me how to write a rule, how to answer an exam, how to read a case, which was things I wasn't really doing that properly until around Halloween, my 1L year. And now I look back at myself and realize how formidable that experience was. And I think I am not the same woman I was, 2.5 years ago. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. And then I'm a teaching assistant for 1L property. I've done that 2 years. I'm in my second year. So I work with Schuyler. She oversees that as well. So she and I are just tight. And I also think that's real. Stop me if I'm rambling, but I love how I have personal relationships with these people. I thought going to law school was borderline elitist. I was scared that maybe I wasn't going to be seen as a student, but teachers, staff, people in the coffee plate, like we talk about my dog, and we talk about how my parents are doing. And I've created really personal relationships with these people. I'm very grateful. And then Nancy, you couldn't be here today. And Emmy, it's been great getting to know you. Everyone, you walk right in. I don't even need to schedule an appointment. I don't even do it sometimes. I just walk right in and start talking. So I know I've done that with you, Ken, and thanks for not being upset with me. So I just feel respected, and it's allowed me to take every opportunity I've wanted to here. So thank you.
Yeah, a couple other quick questions I'm gonna come to you, Haley, for might be in relation to setting expectations when you're a law school student. Of course, the load is heavy when it comes to your 1L curriculum, the class time, as well as the study time, reading for class, obviously outlining as soon as kind of finals come around the corner. How did you handle that when you started law school, and how has that, I mean, gotten better for you? Because I know that you said that at the start things were tough, maybe in your personal life, and obviously competing interests for your time, of course, can factor into it. But how would you advise incoming students to work on setting expectations with family members and loved ones?
Absolutely. So I'm going to steal something that I got from my time at the counseling center. Full disclosure, I used the resources from the undergraduate campus. We have access to all of those. So I do. It was tough. I'm a first gen college student. We don't have any professionals in my family. So it's called Strengthening the Net. And I'm going to do this because if it's hard to call up your mom who has no idea what you're talking about and rant about, oh my goodness, I got cold called and I didn't know the answer and I didn't know what to do. So when things were really good, I called my parents and said, I'm going to have days where I'm not like this. And, full disclosure, they're not all going to be sunshine days. It's just, that's how it works. So I sat down my close family, close friends, and said, I need ways for you to support me when I'm not feeling well. And I just had to identify. I learned that I just need to call and rant and get it out. I don't necessarily need a conversation. I just need someone to kind of listen to me when I'm upset. So when I was in a good place, called him up, said, this is what's going to happen when I call and I'm upset about contracts or the quiz in Civ Pro. I mean, it's just what I need to do. So that's to speak to my family. And then things got better. Once I stopped calling my sisters and crying about things, once they knew they just had to listen, things got a lot better. And then I take time for myself every day. It's really hard at first. I almost felt guilty because I'm supposed to be reading. I'm supposed to be going to office hours and I'm supposed to be at the school from, sunrise to sundown. And you've got to get over that really quickly. That's how we lead to burnout in this career. But I take time for myself every day, whether it's I go on a walk, try and get outside. I hit the gym. I love trivia nights at the bars. So I'll go to a trivia night just to take an hour and a half, and I don't do any law school things. So that's how I've maintained balance. And now as a 3L, I wish I could have started this earlier. I wish I knew a lot earlier, but no, now I'm happy. I'm happy.
And I guess hinting to what you were just saying there beforehand, taking breaks, finding balance, that's what allows you to keep going, and it doesn't lead to the burnout that you were talking about, because that's real, right? And thankfully all these teams are here to support students that might be feeling burned out or feeling as though they're overwhelmed. And in many ways, the dean talked about it yesterday when he was chatting with the admitted students, but no, in every single way, shape, or form, law school is supposed to be new and hard and challenging. It's supposed to make you think. It's supposed to expose you to something that you're uncomfortable with, in essence, right? Whether it's the large amounts of reading or the denseness of what it is that you're reading, preparing for finals, doing outlines, but also thinking about professional development and having to network and having to interview and everything that comes underneath the umbrella of law school. It is supposed to be new and at times will be overwhelming, but like you said, taking those breaks really makes a world of a difference. Kristina, there's a question in here that says, does the Office of Financial Aid help students find outside scholarships to help them aid their finances throughout their 3 years?
We absolutely do. So Christopher Nicholson, our assistant director, set up what's called an external scholarship site, and we add all available scholarships, outside scholarships to the site. We put due dates, applications on there. And what we do before we promote these scholarships is vet them to make sure that they are the type of scholarship that says, hey, pay $45 and, we guarantee a scholarship, because none of those sites are real. You will lose your $45 and you are not going to get a scholarship. So We go out, we try to find as many scholarships available specifically for law students, and that site is accessible only to students who are enrolled at the law school. And any questions students may have about an application process for a certain scholarship, or you might be confused about something, you're welcome to come into the office and we will sit down and walk you through it to the best of our ability, even though it's not our scholarship. We want to try to make sure that any student receives any scholarship that they're applying for and make sure your application is exactly what they're asking for. So yes, we do help students in that aspect.
And Kristina, really quickly, can you just point to the difference between our office and your office and the financial aid that you all handle versus what admissions handles?
Yes, Phil. So Phil's office, the admissions office, is responsible for awarding merit-based scholarships, and that's based obviously on your academic merit coming into the law school. My office focuses on loan borrowing, if students are interested in borrowing loan funding to help pay for tuition and cost of living. We also have a small amount each year of need-based endowments. And if you believe that you may be eligible for a need-based endowment, so the criteria for almost all of these endowments involves demonstrate financial need. And if you believe you might fall into that category, on the financial aid website, we have a link to apply for these endowments, and it's a quick one form. I think it's a PDF interactable form, and then once you fill that out, oh, you know what, that's the one we couldn't make interactive. So you would have to copy that, email that to us. And I also request a personal statement asking why you believe that you may be eligible for a need-based scholarship. And then we typically choose the scholarship recipient sometime in June. And if you are chosen to receive a scholarship, we will send you a letter letting you know the scholarship and the amount, and a scholarship release form, which you need to sign and return back to the office. So just want to set the expectations. The need-based scholarships usually range from about $4,000 to $15,000. That's some of our higher scholarships. It doesn't mean that these pay for your entire tuition. If you're coming in and you don't have a merit scholarship, which a lot of students don't, these scholarships won't be able to pay for your entire tuition, but they definitely will put a dent into them. And a lot of them are for 3 years. So if you want a scholarship your 1L year, you get that 2L year and 3L year as well. So I highly encourage anyone who thinks that they might fall into this category to please go onto our website and fill out an application, and then I will review that for you.
Thank you, Kristina. There's a question in here that I'm going to ask for Haley to answer. The question says, an organic sense of community is a quality high on my list of requirements when picking a law school. Do you believe that Villanova offers that both within the both within the law school itself and beyond that of the greater Villanova campus or on the greater Villanova campus? Can you give an example of when you felt a strong sense of belonging and community?
Yeah, absolutely. We, as law students, we have access to everything that happens on the university. So while we're across the tracks, which is not across the train tracks, which is nice because it's a lot quieter over here. It's a very short walk to campus. I frequently am over there. We get all the emails. Every opportunity that is extended to an undergraduate student is extended to law students. So I've taken suicide prevention training at the undergrad. I've taken wellness training at the undergrad. They have dogs come to the law school, but I've attended dogs at the undergrad campus. I think 2 days ago, they just hosted a carnival with pop-ups. I had class, but things that we're invited to, those are just the few that come to my mind. And yesterday, speaking to the law school specifically, the Student Bar Association, which is the elected, Emmy talked about it, the elected students who represent the school and have a relationship with the deans. They hosted a town hall, which students showed up and voiced questions, comments, concerns. So Villanova is transparent with students and So SBA is really reaching out to the students to garner, great things. We need another fridge. That was something brought up, but it's little things like that. And the school listens and does it. We've had an uptick in students. So I think we had 2 more microwaves. So little things like that don't seem that important, but when we're all trying to make lunch, it's important that everybody's got a microwave. And the school's been really receptive to that. So I also feel I'm really happy here. And now I can walk down the hallways and I say hi to people. So speaking to community that way, and professors are the same way. You walk down the professor corridor and they'll call out to you and why weren't you in class or where you been? So, now they all talk to me, but definitely community friendly.
Thanks, Haley. So there are questions in here for Dean Carluzzo. I see 2 in particular. One that says, we've talked in previous sessions about how to separate law classes from bar prep. However, does Villanova Law create their class curriculum to align somewhat with bar prep? And then second, I'm sure you see the question there about workshops that are offered. So if you can just expand on that a little bit, that'd be helpful. You're muted, Matt.
Thanks. Workshops is something that we are gratefully getting back into after the COVID time a little bit. But ASP workshops tend to just be, they're very, informal, open workshops where we would choose a topic that we know is likely to be relevant to the students at a given time. For example, early on in the first year, things like time management, case briefing, just general check-ins tend to come up. So we would say, hey, we're gonna be in this, a room at a given time, often on a Friday. Anybody is free to come by, and we'll often, we'll try and demonstrate something and give you all a shot at improving it. So, that's what I mean by the workshop model: voluntary things that we suspect might be well received by students at the time. If you have follow-up questions, happy to answer. With the BARC and the curriculum, yes, I think you might be alluding to the fact that in addition to going to law school for 3 years, which obviously is a bar prep, piece in itself, after you graduate from law school, then there's a pretty intensive bar preparation process that the graduates will go through that Haley knows is coming soon and is going to be fine. But after, and that tends to be a separate thing. But yes, our curriculum is designed largely, particularly the first year, with the bar exam in mind. All of the courses that you take as a first year, the mandatory courses, torts, contracts, criminal law, constitutional law, property, etc., civil procedure. These are all course topics that basically comprise of the majority of the questions, the topics tested, I should say, on the bar exam. So the curriculum is absolutely geared toward helping our students prepare for the bar exam. There are other subjects that are on the bar exam that aren't in the first year: family law, evidence, business organizations, things like that. But those courses are all in the curriculum as well, and they tend to be what we call recommended courses for that very reason. So I hope that that answers your question. And throughout, beyond that, then there's my office kind of starting in the second year, and then, increasingly so as students get closer to actually graduating, we're giving students kind of practical guide to what to expect, what is the bar, what to expect, how to apply, what to expect in terms of passing, and then we'll support you through the summer as you're studying.
Awesome. Before I come back to you for another question, there is one here that I'll answer really quickly that says, does Villanova provide any internship or clerkship opportunities and resources? So good question. That sort of, I think, loops in a couple of different departments that are not here on the call today. But yes, we do offer internship support. And so that'll come through our director of externships. His name is Matt McGovern, and Matt's there to assist students during the school year, even during the summertime when they're looking for externships that provide academic credit for the work that they're doing outside of the law school. On top of that, of course, we have the career strategy team here at the law school, and they assist individuals who are looking for summer employment, but also for postgraduate employment. And so you could extern with a judge, right, and have a judicial externship. You can also work on applying to be a clerk after you graduate, then there is an associate director in the career strategy office who is responsible for clerkships specifically. So you can work with that person when you're here as a student to identify clerkships that you want to apply for after you graduate, but also through our externship program here, we have placements that are on the local, state, and federal level. So really expansive in terms of clerkships that are judicially rooted for externship credit. Dean Carluzzo, coming back to you here, it says, as a non-traditional student who has been out of school for a few years, what kind of support is available to students like myself in the Academic Success Office? And really quickly, before I let you get started here, I'm just going to mention that on campus, we have, of course, VPNG, right? So we have the Villanova Parents and Non-Traditional Student Group, which is a group that is only a couple years old, but a pretty powerful group on campus comprised of members who are potentially parents, potentially have partners and spouses, children, maybe graduated from law school 4 or 5 years ago, maybe graduated from, college 4 or 5 years ago, or graduated from college 15, 20 years ago. We have students that really run the full spectrum there. And that group's really about providing community for students that view themselves as not being a traditional law student in terms of being 22 or 23 or 24. So it is a really, really lovely group on campus to provide support to those types of students. But I'll turn it over to Dean Carluzzo to chat about how his office interacts with non-traditional students.
Sure. Thanks, Phil. And I was going to say the same thing. One way that we interact is by interacting directly with VPNG, which is a fantastic group that I'm so happy to have seen develop, because VPNG, I think, goes to what I was going to give as my answer anyway, which is we are, the support that my office offers is me and Skylar. You can come talk to us if you're feeling that for whatever reason, frankly, whether you're a non-traditional student or not, that you can come and discuss whatever it is challenge that you might be having, and talking to us. We keep these things in mind in the more broad programs that we give when we teach the whole class. How to the new types of skills that you want to develop, how to prepare for class, how to start outlining, how to prepare for exams, etc. One piece of encouragement and just a piece of general advice that I'd give to everyone is, in one way or another, all students here are non-traditional in one way or another. And being a few years out of college, I know that can make, or out of school, whether it's college or just school, that can make students nervous coming in. But I really would encourage you to say, don't be nervous about that. That's going to be one thing that, obviously that you're anticipating that might raise some challenges from you, but you'll also have assets, the advantages that you will have developed by being out of school for 2 years. And everything works like that in law school. Everyone brings their own unique person and package and assets and challenges to the table. And we're here to work to help them all, help everyone maximize their own academic potential, basically. So I don't want to know if that's directly what you've been thinking, but whoever's name that was, if you start and you want to get some support as haven't been in school in a while and just want to talk to someone about kind of getting back into the swing of things, Skylar and or I would love to work with you.
Haley, there are a couple questions in here that I'll ask you for a quick answer on. The first one says, what's one piece of advice that you would give to an incoming 1L that you wish someone had told you?
Absolutely. Amazing question. I wish someone told me to quiet the noise. It's hard not to do because this is a competitive environment. These are the best of the best from their undergrads, all in the same room. And it was very difficult not to compare myself. I'm like, oh, I don't have an MBA. I don't have 5 years on Wall Street. I don't have all of these things. And there's chirp, but you hear it. I wish someone had told me you're here for a reason. I started hearing it and listening to it in my second year. Once I was getting really involved with SMHS, and I think we've done a great job at curbing that. I think 1Ls are hearing it, but I wish someone told me that you're here for a reason. You got in, that you're in this room because you're supposed to be. So not to listen to the competitiveness.
I'm going to come to you for a question as it relates to working with student organizations on campus and the way in which we encourage students to get involved, but also the way in which we encourage groups to put on events and programs that really tailor to different sorts of experiences and exposure. So can you just chat a little bit about how you work with student groups and help them in sort of that exploration on campus?
Yeah, of course. So I am actually fairly new here too. So I've been here for about 6 months. So I can also kind of speak to the community that it just feels like such a fantastic place to be. And that's definitely reflected in the 40+ student groups that we have. I know I mentioned that earlier, but it really just creates this fantastic community where there really is, and I'll reiterate, there really is a group for everybody. And all of those groups host different events. They bring in people, they bring in folks that, you know, are going to represent every single person that's going to be here. They're informative, and you know, the student affairs office is just here to support that, you know, and one of the big things that Dean Alexander is pushing this year is a Building Bridges program. And so that's going to help support, you know, these conversations that we can have with differing viewpoints and really just prepare yourself for, you know, life outside of law school. So I hope that answers the question a little bit, Phil.
Definitely. Haley, coming back to you here, it says you previously talked about having a healthy school mental health balance. How have you, or have you, I guess, and I think you already answered this question, but have you found it easier to obtain that as time has gone on during your law school career, that balance between law school, but also mental health balance?
Yes, I am in a much better place now than that first semester went out. The transition into law school it's tough. It is. And I got through it by talking about it. I had people who listened to me. So that was, I mean, that's a big part of what got me through. But now as a 3L, I can look back and say, I wish I took more time for myself. I wish I started going to therapy earlier. I wish I started attending their listening circles for graduate students and for law students, particularly on and off campus. I wish I attended those earlier, because learning that other people were feeling the same way is that absolutely pushed me through. And then I found friends that way, because you sit in the room and think, am I the only person that has no idea if there was a contract? I don't know. But you know, going to these events and learning that I'm not alone, everyone thinks this is hard, definitely helped get me through. And now I make time for myself every day. It is a priority. And I have much healthier relationships with my parents and my friends now. And now that I'm a 3L, I just wish I started sooner.